All right. Thank you, everyone. I'm Devesh Lathi from the Next Genius webinars, and thank you for joining Next Genius Profile Building Fair Feb 22. Uh, this is the first profile building fair of the year, and I'm sure all of you will enjoy the lineup of speakers that we have today. This is a 4-hour event, and in this event, you will listen to some amazing speakers as they come and share about various profile building opportunities, profile building activities with you. The very first session, we have Abhinav Garg sir, who is the SAT Prep Guru of India, and he is going to take us through the new online SAT. I'm not sure if all of you have heard it, but SAT is moving online now, and today we'll get to know how the new online SAT will be structured. Following that, we'll have 4 to 5 more speakers. We have an online research program. We have Ms. Neetu Darwal, who is going to talk about law admissions and scholarships. We'll learn about summer schools in Spain. We'll learn about admission interviews and video essays. Uh, we'll have we'll learn about business schools, summer school in the US, demonstrating English proficiency, and finally, at the end of the day, I'll talk about internships. So it's a fantastic lineup, and I encourage all of you to make the best of this opportunity and sort of learn whatever that you can. Before moving and before starting the session, let me also share our YouTube channel link with you. This is an amazing resource for all of you. There's some fantastic videos on our YouTube channel. I've just put the link to our YouTube channel in the chat box. Go ahead and sign up for subscribe our YouTube channel and learn learn from the videos that we are posting over there. With that, we are ready to start the session, and just as we start, let me just launch a couple of poll questions that that will help us understand you better. So my question number one is, which city are you joining us from? If you could just very quickly answer that question and tell us which city are you joining us from today. All right, I can see the answers coming in. If your phone is in your pockets or something, just take it out and just take a moment to respond to this full question. 10 seconds more. There are a couple more questions, so just be there with me. Okay, thank you for answering that question. And just for everyone's reference, we have a high population from Pune this time. Fantastic. Next question is, we want to know more about whether your school is online or in person. Okay, so great. Thank you for answering that. And I can see the responses coming in, so that's great. Okay. And 5 seconds more. Thank you for answering that. So 1/3 of the schools are fully in person and 2/3 are hybrid, and very few schools are fully online. That's great to know. Okay, so that's enough quizzing now. We are ready to start a session for the day, and for which we have Abhinav sir here. Abhinav sir, a pleasure having you with us today, and we're looking forward to learning more about what the new online SAT is all about.
Hi Devesh, pleasure to be here as always. I mean, this is one platform I think which I enjoy talking to more than anything else, and such an intriguing topic, such a current topic. So the College Board threw a spanner on 25th of January when they announced that the SAT would soon be digital, and it would no longer be offered in the paper and pencil format as it has been for over 100 years now. So question marks everywhere. I think through this very short session, I'll take about 20 odd minutes of your time. And then if you have any questions, I'll be glad to take them up. Sorry. I would probably divide my presentation into 4 parts. Why is the SAT going digital? What is not changing? What is changing? And how does it impact you as a student? So very simple, 4 boxes for everyone. Why is the test changing? One of the reasons, very simple reasons, is that practically we now in times where practically everything is going digital, everything is going online. The ACT went digital almost 3.5 years ago, from September of 2018, the ACT has been a digital test quite successfully. But that itself is not reason enough. Why is the SAT going digital? I would say three reasons primarily. The first, the SAT has been marred by allegations of paper leakage. So each year, or the last 2 years, 3 years, there have been at least a couple of SATs which have been alleged to be leaked. At times, the College Board could confirm it. At times, and they went on. For example, one of these years, they cancelled the sum total of test takers from Egypt. That was 2 years ago. This time around, there were allegations of the papers being leaked in Dubai, UAE. So the results were delayed by a month and a half, but they finally did release vast majority of the results. So because these physical papers, they travel to so many locations, the College Board just does not have complete control over these places. So once the test goes digital, this menace of test leakage that gets over, a paper leakage menace gets over, and it becomes probably, I would say, a fairer test. Another issue, in the paper and pencil test is that at times I come across students who tell me, sir, I took this test at this particular center, and I found that the school administration intentionally allowed excess time to students. Now, this is something which puts the remainder of the students at a huge disadvantage. With the test going digital or online, even that is taken care of. A third reason here, is that the College Board recycles its test papers, because the SAT is such a high quality test. It is not easy to create 15, 20 such tests each year. So what it does is it recycles tests. For example, some tests that have been used in the US already might be used internationally later on, or vice versa. For this practice also, the College Board has come under a lot of flack. So they decide to go digital. And the fourth and final reason is the costs. It's always cheaper. It's always cheaper to do the tests online. So the College Board ends up making more money, on what they charge you as a fee. There is no transportation costs involved. In the current SAT, all test papers are couriered to the location, and from the location, school location, they are couriered back to New York, where the College Board headquarters are situated. So it itself, and then the printing costs and evaluation costs, there's so much of cost involved, which can all be simplified. So these are some of the reasons why the test is going digital. What is not changing on the test? I'll tell you. It continues to be a test of English and math. It continues to be 50% English and 50% math in terms of score. I think that's about it. That's the only thing which is not changing on the test, right? So yes, the other thing which is also not changing is that when it is a digital test, please do not be under the impression that you can take it from home. It is a digital test, but not from home. You still have to travel to a test center. Though you can carry your own laptop or your own tablet and take the test on that. If you're not having a tablet, then the school shall provide you with one wherever you're taking this particular test. So it is not going to be a take at home test. What's changing now? Let's talk about that at length. The first thing which is changing is the mode of administration, which will now become digital. It will be taken off a computer screen and not on paper and pencil. I'll be talking about this module for quite some time. I think this is something that will interest most of you. What is changing is the duration of the test. From the erstwhile 3-hour test, it will now become a 2-hour test. So 2-hour test would be 1 hour of English, 1 hour of math. Earlier, it was 100 minutes of English and 80 minutes of math. So it was a 3-hour test in all with breaks in between. We'll still have one short break in between, but essentially it becomes a 2-hour straight test. So a lot of students find that to be a welcome news. Earlier, the SAT used to have 2 math sections, one with a calculator, one without a calculator. Now it will have only one math section, and you'll be permitted to use a graphing calculator throughout. You have both options. The online portal, will have a built-in Desmos graphing calculator. Desmos today are the global leaders in manufacturing graphing calculators. Or you could also carry with you one of your own physical calculators that you can use during the test, right? Just as you're comfortable. My recommendation, carry your own calculator. Don't rely on the calculator that's built into the whole thing, right? It will still be scored on a scale of 1600, 800 for math, 800 for English. Beyond this, the College Board has not given too many details. So whatever I could make out of it, I'm going to share with you. The greatest change that has happened to the SAT is that it is now going to be an adaptive test. Now let's all understand what is an adaptive test. In an adaptive test here, every single student will get a different set of questions, right? So the paper for student A and student B and student C are going to be completely different. In fact, the College Board says that no two students would have the same paper, though they would all have papers which are of an equal level of difficulty, right? So nothing changes over there. What is an adaptive test? For example, the best known adaptive test today is GMAT. So GMAT, what happens when you answer the first question, your response to the first question determines what is the kind of question that you're going to get at number 2 slot. If you get the first question right, you'll get a tougher second question, but your scores will increase. If you get the first question wrong, you will get an easier second question, but your scores will decrease, right? So the GMAT code today is one of the toughest to crack. Although the good news here is that the SAT is not going to be question adaptive like the GMAT. It is going to be section adaptive like the GRE. So for example, each of these 60-minute English and math tests, they would be further divided into 2 modules. So I'll have English section, first module and second module, right? Within first module, you can go back and you can go change your answers, you can revisit the questions, which is something that you can't do on a truly adaptive test like GMAT. So this test is section adaptive, this test is not question adaptive. So let's say I've got 2 sections on math. Each of these modules have got 20 questions each to be solved in about 30 minutes, which is the most likely scenario. This College Board has not divulged any further details beyond this. Now, when you've completed the first module of the math section, it is going to be evaluated in real time. And if you score above a certain percentage of marks in this, then you'll get a tougher second section and a floor of your score would be established, right? Which means if you get more than, let's say, 90% correct questions in the first section, then it is for all practical purposes that you cannot get less than 700 points. Now, whether you get 700 or 800 or some figure in between would depend upon how you answer the second section, the second module, which will generally have tougher questions. So if you answer most of them correct, your scores would be closer to 800. If you answer most of them incorrect, your scores will be closer to 700. On the other hand, if you do not perform well on the first section, what happens? You still get a second section, but a ceiling is now established. So if you have done, let's say, only 60% correct in the first section, probably the ceiling is established that you cannot get anything more than 700, right? If you get quite a few questions correct in the second module, which is going to be an easier module, then your score approaches a 700, right? If you get a lot of questions incorrect there also, then your score is going to be something like a 550, 560, 500, 650, something like that based upon a little college. Right. So the College Board has not really divulged a lot of details, but yet this much is known for sure. As long as you are within the same module, you can go back, you can change your answers, you can revisit your answers. So it is not, I mean, I see a lot of rumors that you can't go back. It's not like that on the SAT. You can go back, you can change your answers, so long as you are in the same module. So this is a section adaptive test and not a question adaptive test. So in its structure, it resembles, this test has, I would say, the structure of a GRE, but the soul of a GMAT. So it is not question adaptive. GRE is a section adaptive test. What's also not changing, I think, is the nature of questions. The College Board has amply stated. Also, I would very seriously, debate the College Board's capability to develop so many completely new questions for a completely new test in a short period of time. It's not happening. So they're going to recycle some of those questions. Also, some welcome changes there. So they say in math, the wordy questions would be taken away. They get the wordy questions would be taken away in math. So math now, the current SAT has lots of questions which are very, very long statements. Now, what happens in these long statements is that often you are lost in that statement, not with the math. So even if you knew the math, you'll end up getting that question incorrect. And it happens in lots of cases. So they say they are going away. In the reading and writing sections, whereas reading and writing they've retained as a principle, but the structure is going to change completely. So currently what happens in both the reading section as well as the writing section, you have a complete paragraph. And that paragraph is followed by some 10 or 11 questions. So you read the paragraph, you understand it, you develop your own learnings and your understanding of the passage, and then you answer that question. How it is going to change is that in the new SAT, each paragraph will have just one question associated with it. So needless to go, the paragraphs will become shorter. So what you have 800 odd word paragraphs right now, I think you'll have 80 to 100 word paragraphs. A lot of students are celebrating this, that is going to be a test which is less dependent on reading, because reading nowadays has always been the challenge on the SAT. I don't think so. I think it's only going to get a little tougher than what it currently is. The quantum of reading that you're required to undertake will increase. It will not decrease. It'll increase. So I think reading speed will become all the more important a determiner in, how well you do on this test. Another good news is that till now the test was done 5 times a year, which is March, August, October. I'm sorry, March, May, August, October, December. How did I get that wrong? Now they're going to add 2 more, administrations to it. One in June and one in November. Both these administrations are extremely welcome for Indian students, because between the existing 5 administrations, 2 of them are practically useless for all Indians. So you have only 3 choices. From these 3 choices, now it will become 5 effective choices as to where you plan to take the test. So beyond that, the College Board has not really divulged a lot of information. They've released some prototypes of the screen, what it will look like. When does the new test come into being? Internationally, which means for locations outside the US, the tests which are conducted March of 2023 onwards are going to be digital. And once the digital test comes in, the paper and pencil option will not remain. So it's not that you have a choice that you take it this way or that way. When it is paper-based, it is paper-based. Once it becomes digital, it's only going to be digital. In the US, this is going to go digital from March of 2024. The College Board is smart. So when it comes to 90% of the markets, they want to give themselves 1 year extra to see how this test is panning out. Only 10% of the test takers are international. 90% of the test takers here are US residents or US test takers. And if we go with the ACT example, when the ACT went digital in 2018 September, the first 3 administrations were complete washouts. There were so many glitches, there were so many problems, which is the hallmark, of a tech product. I mean, once you put it into place, it will take you endless amount of time to put it back on track, and you test it and you identify the deviations and you work on those. So expect some turbulence in the first 2 or 3 administrations. The other challenge that the College Board has put across your way is that they say the first sample questions would be available only by July, August, and the first full sample paper would be available only by something like September, October, might even be November. Now, that throws spanner into the entire thing. Last time when the SAT changed, sample papers were available 15 months ahead of the new test. So right now, waiting until October, November to take a test that will be done in March. And please understand, they may not release any more than 2 or 3 papers because the college board would not want to give away a lot of questions. Uh, and then people like us would sit down developing the new product. Although we've been working on it for the past 2 years, we completely thoroughly anticipated this change. We were ready to go digital last year as well. But still, it will take some time. After those papers are released, it will take at least a month or so for people to put in credible test papers into place. So that's a kind of squeeze for each one of you. Very quickly, so I think dearth of good prep materials for someone who takes a paper-based test today, almost 40, 45 very good papers are available, might even be 50. So here is a year-wise guideline to what you ought to be doing. If you are currently in grade 11, that means you'll be moving to grade 12 by July, August. You don't have an option. You have to take the paper-based test only because your applications will start going out by November. So you guys are sorted. Those who are in grade 10 currently and would be moving to grade 11 in April, May, June, July this year, these are the ones who are the most impacted. And they are the ones who should be watching out this space most carefully. My standard recommendation to them is finish off SAT this year itself. Look at one attempt in August, one in October or December. Finish off the SAT this year because I do not want my students to take the test in March, May, or June next year. That may not be the right place to take it. At that time, just wait and watch. So if you are currently in grade 10, and probably after June of next year, it might become late for you to take the test. So if you're in grade 10 right now, moving to grade 11, do the diagnostic tests early, sign up early, start your prep early. Even if your 10th exams have not started, start devoting some times towards your SAT prep and look at taking this test sometimes in August this year. Use the entire summer vacation towards working in a hyperactive mode. Right. Second, look at the ACT as an option. So if you want to consider, the ACT as an option, I would have a session that I would have done earlier for the Next Genius Foundation, which are webinars that would be available on the website where I discussed about the SAT, ACT at length. The best way to decide is take a diagnostic test. Of course, we offer free of cost diagnostic tests to all students who approach us. Devesh sir can share my website details where you can go in and register for a diagnostic test. You can take it with us. It costs you nothing. It's absolutely free of cost. That tells you whether you should be going ahead with the SAT or with the ACT. If the test of choice for you is the ACT, then it doesn't make a difference even if the SAT is going digital. But if it's the SAT, you need to act fast. What about students who are currently in grade 9 and would be moving to grade 10? Please do not look at starting any of your SAT prep before May of 2023, before you end your grade 10 effectively. By that time, we would have a lot of data on the digital SAT. By that time, we would have developed content, developed study materials. So you look at taking the test in latter half of 2023. The idea is, to avoid the first 2 or 3 administrations of the new SAT. Do not be a guinea pig. Beyond that, a test is a test. I've always maintained the SAT is something which changes every 10 years. This time it has changed in 7 years, which is completely okay. So every time the test changes, there is this hoopla, what will happen, what will not happen. I think all of us are status quoists. So we kind of, don't take to change very amenably. So that's what produces a lot of problem here. Once 2, 3 tests have been conducted, we'll have enough data, we'll have enough understanding of the new tests. And then everybody is taking the new test. You're also taking the new test. So if the test is far away for you, there is absolutely no reason to panic. Just avoid the first 2 or 3 administrations. That's about it. Feel free to visit us on our website and write to us in case you need to take a diagnostic test. We'll be more than happy to conduct the same for you. And we'll also be more than happy for one of my teammates to sit down with you and guide you as to which is the test you should be taking and how you should be pacing your prep over a period of time. So I think that's all I had. Devesh sir, do we have any questions?
Superb, sir. Thank you so much, first of all, for sharing all that wonderful information and sharing about how the new online SAT could turn out to be. Thank you for your insight, sir. If you could take a moment to tell us about SATnPaper, that would be great.
Certainly, fantastic. Thanks a lot, Devesh. So we are engaged in the business of training students for SAT, ACT, and APs. And we are a completely online operation. We were completely digital, completely online, even before the pandemic. We've been existing exclusively like this for the last 6 years now. And we offer prep in one-on-one dimension. We do not train batches. We train individual students. It's a highly personalized prep. The prep time we recommend can be anywhere from 3 to 6 months. We have strategy lessons, workshops. We give you complete content. There's a student success officer assigned to each student, who keeps a track of your progress. And we've had some fantastic results for ourselves. I mean, if you care to visit our website, you'll be able to take a look at it. So currently we have about 55 very, very capable tutors working with us. And to be precise, 197 of our students scored a 99th percentile or higher in 2021 alone across the SAT or ACT. This is a record of sorts. I can say with a lot of conviction that the nearest of our competitors would not have figures 1/4 of this, 1/4. So we are, I think, 4x in terms of results as compared to our nearest competitor. That is what keeps us alive. That is what keeps us kicking. So we take a very personalized approach to prep. It will be a very good idea for you to take 2 diagnostic tests with us, one for the SAT, one for the ACT. And thereafter, we'll be happy to sit down with you and discuss your test choices and share with you the kind of courses that we have for you. So I think that's all I have to say on this front. If Devesh sir has any questions, I'll be glad to take them.
Thank you so much, sir. We have just one question, and we have time for just one question, actually. The question is there any clarity on how the scoring can be done, since this is going to be a section-wise adaptive test?
They would not reveal it. It'll have to be cracked. So it will take people like us, maybe, 1 week of outbound with 12 of our top brains to figure that out.
Okay, super.
We will figure it out eventually, don't worry. So, but, again, it won't happen instantaneously. I think given a month-long lead time, we'll be able to crack the test. Should not be a problem. It's a test. It's a design test. One can always go and crack the design. Not much of an issue.
Fantastic. And we have one more question.
Sure.
I think that can be also a closing comment. How do you recommend students to manage their time in the SAT, and how should they do it in an online SAT?
Time management is a huge, huge topic unto itself, I think. Can't comment on that in this shorter time. Yes, we do workshops and strategy lessons, which are specifically targeted at helping you save time and helping you manage time. But unless we have taken a look at the exact prototype of the paper, I don't think a comment here would be justified.
Absolutely, sir. I think we understand. So now we are at the end of the session, 4:30 p.m. We are winding up the first session for the profile building fair of the Feb 2022. And we had our first speaker, Abhinav Garg sir from the SATnPaper, and we learned about new online SAT. Thank you so much, Abhinav sir, for being here with us this evening, and it was a pleasure having you.
Always wonderful to be here. Thank you so much. I hope everyone enjoyed the session and gained something today. Thank you
so much, sir.